Welcome to Creative Solutions. Today I'll be doing a question from the ISC 2018, question number 2. It's a matrix question. The question basically was you enter number of rows and columns. There are boundary conditions which should be greater than 2, less than 10. You need to display the original matrix as given by the user, and you need to sort the row. Sort the row, which means suppose 11 minus 2 3, it should be sorted in ascending order, that is lowest number minus 2 3 11, 5 6 17 should be 5 7 16, 9 0 4 should be 0 4 9, 3 1 8 should be 1 3 8. That's it. That was the question, nothing much. It's a very simple forward question. There's a boundary case which should be satisfied, otherwise then it's okay. I'll show the logic part. Actually actually you will find it funny, the way I have just ignore this part. This is a function. I will come back to this again. This is the main function. I'm using a scanner class for the user input. You can anyway use any other classes. You can use buffer reader or anything else for the user input. This code will perfectly run in BlueJ or dev, whatever you want to use, or any other online compiler. Okay, moving on. Basically, as you see, I'm taking the matrix size m and n. I have declared an 2D matrix array named as input. I'm basically checking for the boundary cases here. If any of the boundary cases, I'm using an OR statement, because if any of the conditions satisfies, we must terminate the program then and there itself. That is, I'm using system.exit. Okay. Now moving on, what I'm taking the input from the user. That is, of course, you know how to take a 2D input array. For taking a 2D input array, you run the outer loop and the inner loop. Outer loop, as I've declared the values here till m number of, like m is an user input, but by now we know it, so it will run till m, and the inner loop will run till n. So it will store I comma j is basically this loop position values. It will take the user input and store in those positions. Okay, here I am basically displaying the original matrix. I'm using a print statement here. See, this is the trick. See, actually it wants to display in this particular format. To display in this particular format, what I do basically is I'm using a print statement, and I'm giving the user input with a space, and outside the loop I'm moving into next line. See, if you use a print ln, what it basically does, it prints the statement and moves the command line, I mean the cursor, to the next line. So if you want to avoid that, you can use simply a print. Print will keep the cursor on the same line, and it will print unless you use a escape sequence or a println command. Now see, now the next part is little tricky, as it wants us to sort the row. See, basically row is a single dimension array, but here we are dealing with a 2D array. So what do? So the basic logic which I have implemented is I am taking each row as a single dimension array and sending it to another function. That function sorts this and prints it. That's it. I am simply extracting each row one by one, sending it to another function. That function will basically extract, sort those values and display it. Simple, nothing much. How I'm extracting it, I'll show you. It's simple. I'm running the for the entire 2D matrix. I've declared an ARR because I do not want any previous value, so I'm declaring it inside the loop here itself, so that it is declared each and every time. N values for the number of rows, j equals 0, j less than n, j plus plus. Insert is basically it's a position array. It will insert a 0 from 0th position till n position. I'm taking out the user input, the input array. I'm storing it in ARR array, and I'm sending it to the sort. And see, this is the important part. Actually, many of you will forget that to make the insert as 0, because if you do not do, now it insert, if it is not 0, it will start from n plus 1, n plus 2, n plus 3. So that will be a real problem. So you need to always remember, if you are using temporary position variables, always try to initialize it to null. Now I'm sending it to sort. ARR, the array has been sent to sort. See what sort basically does is, so say for the sort, this is basically a single dimension array which I need to completely use using a bubble sort technique. That is, bubble sort technique is very simple, one of the easiest sorting technique, where I run through entire length it can be run to a length -1, but I've just for the purposes, a dot length is basically the array length, outer array, inner array. I am just comparing this for the ascending order. If I invert this, it will display in descending order. This is basically how to swap two numbers. For swapping two numbers, basically I'll make temporary, hold the first value, then I will replace that a of I is replaced by a of j, then a of j will be given the value of temp. This is basically simple sorting technique and swapping. And I can just simply display in the same way I displayed here. As you remember, I have displayed in the same way with a simple space print command and then outer line with a println. That's it. It does. It will display one by one row will go. It will end here. The command line again comes back here. It basically does the same thing. It takes out the second row, it sends it, it prints it. That's it. See, this program is for 100 marks. The logic here, it took me not even 15 minutes. And I believe if you just think, see, the questions given in exam are basically, many people I have seen, they have used complex logics. They are using so many. They are using positional array. They are taking 2D array. They are see why. You just need to get the output. That's all that matters. And try to use simple logic. Just try to think simple way. Do not think too much complex. Okay, if I need to do this, if I need to do that, just think in simple. You need to sort a row, and that row is simply like, see, if suppose this had, you need to sort the entire 2D array and then display it that way, that would have been a different matter. But here it's simple. You just need to sort the one by one row and display it into that row itself. See, output here, it completely matches -2 3 11 5 7 6 0 4 9 1 3 8. That's it. Okay, I'll run the other input as well. Square matrix 3 cross 3, 22 5 19 7 36 12 9 13 6. That's it. We have the values matching. Just remember, in one thing in exam, always try to think with the simple. Do not try to make it complex. My matrix size out of range. That's it. See, I am using basically I am sorting here. Of course, you know bubble sort. I am just simply, these are all the inputs here. This is just a display original matrix. Here is just a complex, but see, if you know, if you just need to extract the array rows and send it to the sort. See, the one advice which I want to give you is always use functions. Because functions are those things which will literally make complex problem just simplified. Always try to incorporate functions. If you have a deadlock, avoid recursion. Other than just go for function, send it. It does it. It's like you can use function to function also if possible. If it's a complex program. That's it. Actually, you can see here I've solved question papers from the all 17 to 19 onwards. You can refer those videos, and if you still believe that you have doubt, you can just mention comment section. I'll get back to as soon as possible. Or you want me to make video on any other question, you can send me through the mail ID given in the description section, and you can find the code in the description section link. Thank you, and please do share this video. It means a lot to me.